Hi there. Today I am gonna show you how to draw some really cool magical effects in Clip Studio Paint. We will paint a magic sphere and some glowing symbols. We will be using the default Clip Studio Paint brushes throughout the process. I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. I have already painted a rough sketch of my character gathering magic energy. I kept the pose very simple in order to focus on the magical effect more clearly. We will paint these glowing magical symbols and the energy sphere. Here is our base. First we will roughly sketch out the sphere. For this we will use the default calligraphy tool found in the pen section. Both the opacity and the brush density are on pen pressure settings. We would want our magic sphere to be a high energy object, so we want to make it look like it's accumulating energy from the surroundings. Make sure the sphere is on a separate layer. We are going to use 3 major values with corresponding colors for our object. 3 because 3 values are more than sufficient for the effect we want to achieve. You can select any colors of your choice. In this process we are going for a very cool object, so I am painting some cool blues. Once we are done with the rough sketch, we will use the blur tool with brush density set at 100. This will soften all the hard edges, giving our object a very misty effect. Now we duplicate the layer and change the blending mode to color dodge. This gives the magical glow effect. We will resize it and erase out the outer parts so that the sphere ball is the primary area of focus. We again soften the hard edges using the blur tool. It's a really great tool to make hard edges into soft or lost edges. Now we will use the watercolor brush, which is a default Clip Studio Paint brush, to add a bit dynamism to our sphere. We will color pick from what's already there on the canvas. Keep making these directional strokes that wrap around the sphere form. Strokes that wrap around gives us the illusion of a 3D form on a 2D surface. Vary the colors as you go from top to bottom. Overlap strokes to add a bit more variety. Now set the drawing color to transparent pixels located in the bottom-most left part of the color picker. Doing this will help us erase sections that we don't want. For example, we would like to make our magic sphere a bit transparent since its accumulation of energy. Using transparent pixels allows us to use our current brush as an eraser. Do not forget to change the drawing color back, otherwise our other brushes won't work properly. Now we will use Fingertip Smudge tool, which is again a default Clip Studio Paint tool found in the blur section. This tool gives really nice smudgy strokes as if we are actually doing it with our finger in real life. Doing this helps us to manage all the hard strokes that we made earlier, giving it a smooth and more dynamic feel. I also like to flip the canvas to get a fresh new look. You can flip the canvas using the buttons in the navigation panel. There are options to zoom, rotate, flip vertically or horizontally. These are really helpful if you are doing very long projects. Now we duplicated our layer again and add Gaussian blur located in the Filters tab. After that, We changed the blending mode of the layer to Glow Dodge. Glow Dodge brings out really great mystical and magical feel. There are too many layers for the sphere, let's create a layer folder to help manage them more efficiently. Change the blending mode of the layer folder to Through. Through helps the layers in the layer folder to retain their effects properly. Now let's add the accumulating effect. For this we will use the default airbrush. Set its hardness to lowest. Once you make the accumulating stroke, set the blending mode of the layer to Glow Dodge. Now we lower the opacity to make it more soft and misty. Add more details by lowering the size of the brush. The layer on which we painted with our watercolor brush seems too harsh. So now we are softening it with the Blur tool. Blur tool is a great tool indeed, but overusing it may cause your painting to be too soft and less decisive. At this moment the painting seems too imbalanced, there's warm on the left side and cools on the right. We would like some warms on right and some cools on the left to create it more harmonious. That's what we are going to do now. We will be using the same method that we used earlier when we used watercolor brush. We will make directional strokes and soften them with finger smudge tool. Since our sphere is made of magic, it will act as a light source too. So we will add light originating from the sphere and hitting our character. For this we create a new layer and change it to Add Glow mode. We will brush in the lighting with soft airbrush. Our magic sphere is finally complete. Now let's create those glowing symbols or tattoos, whatever you may call them. First, we will roughly draw the symbols and texts on her skin. For this I will use the default darker pencil tool located in the pencil section. I have disabled pen pressure on size, brush density and opacity. Now we duplicate our symbols layer and add Gaussian blur. Then we set the blending mode of the layer to color dodge. You can experiment with other blur filters like the radial or motion blur. Here I am experimenting with the radial blur, trying to see if it looks interesting or not. To get more bloom effect, I duplicated the original layer and did a Gaussian blur again, but this time the blending mode is normal. Now on the original layer we will do the filter, adjust line width. Set it to narrow. This is a great tool to change thickness of your strokes even on a raster layer. Now I am varying the thickness of strokes so that I can get some really interesting effects while using the adjust line width filter. This looks nice. Now let's put all these symbol layers in a folder. The more efficiently you manage your tools, the more fluid and smooth the whole process becomes. With this we are nearing the end of the tutorial. I really hope this helped you people in some way or another. If you have any queries regarding any of the steps or tools or options, please feel free to contact me. Thank you everyone for sticking by and hope to see you all again.